Lovotics. In the conversation between Carol and Stanislaw, Carol states Lovotics is the concept of human-to-robot relationships with the purpose of being to bring humans the same love that they would feel from another person with a robot. But what does this really mean? Lovotics' major focus is on trying to recreate the love between humans and implementing that into a robot. After hearing Carol's brief explanation of what Lovotics is, Stanislaw finds the topic absurd and compares the concept to that of comic book stories, truly indicating how people uneducated about the field may initially find the idea of Lovotics. However, this causes multiple questions to arise for these lesser educated people, demonstrated by Stanislaw's question of whether or not robots know what love is, but also the question of whether we can define the concept of love.
Upon further consideration and research of the question of what love truly is, it becomes clear human-to-human love isn't the only type of love that people hold. Carol states in the conversation, some would argue that love in essence is biochemistry. This can be further backed up by Dr. Helen Fisher, professor at Rutgers University, arguing that love can be broken down into three distinct categories: lust, attraction, and attachment, with different chemicals affecting each emotion. However, this doesn't give us a clear definition of what can or can't be love. A clear example of this is the love car fanatics hold for their cars. Although this wouldn't be considered attraction or lust, it may be considered a strong attachment. One instance of where this love towards an object is more than just an attachment is Nathaniel, who appeared on the TV show My Strange Addiction. Nathaniel describes how his relationship with his car is both emotional and physical, stating the fact it was love at first sight.
Nathaniel is clearly an extreme, but there are communities of car enthusiasts who love the feeling of fixing and driving their cars. So what is the difference between these two? Is the love that they have for their cars different or the same? The only true difference between these two is the person itself, the preference which the two people have. This leads back to Carol's idea of love being biochemistry in the brain, and whether the release of these so-called love chemicals are different for each person, causing the differences in each person's love.
Later in the conversation, Stanislaw brings up his theory of love, which adds to Carol's idea of it being biochemistry. He adds that there is often a real sense of mutual recognition and belonging in loving relationships. You see an image of yourself reflected in the behavior of the other, and that for Lovotics to work, a robot would have to have a human level of consciousness and self-image, allowing it to convey the required emotion and behavior to replicate a human, tricking the human brain into releasing these love chemicals.
In response, Carol brings up an old episode of the 1960s TV series Twilight Zone, which explores the concept of a relationship between a human and a female robot. To summarize the episode, the human initially hates the robot, but he realizes he can hurt it and ends up loving it. He feels by the end it is a woman and is traumatized when it is destroyed. There are many more examples of Lovotics within the science fiction genre, such as the film Ex Machina, or one of the many short stories by Asimov, indicating the popularity of Lovotics within the entertainment industry, and the fact that there is an audience interested in and relating to the characters and themes.
Although past and present society has marginalized these groups of people who don't fit in with the majority, over time it has been demonstrated that these views can change. So currently the majority might deem loving an object, vehicle, or robot as weird. As times change and people become more educated in certain areas, their views may change and become more accommodating to differing opinions.
In essence, the conversation helps to educate those who have little or no knowledge on the topic of Lovotics, with Carol seeming to take the approach of someone who is well versed in the field, and Stanislaw representing the average person, learning about the new subject of Lovotics. Most of society will hold a similar feeling to Stanislaw, suggesting the concept of Lovotics won't be accepted quickly by the average person. But with people like Carol helping to explain the topic, society will hopefully change to meet the needs and requirements of everyone.
In conclusion, we believe that Lovotics will continue to progress with the development of technology as a whole, possibly even reaching the point where it is as advanced as it is in some of the films and books of the science fiction genre. As Stanislaw states at the end of the conversation, Lovotics is already here, and is clearly a field of technology which has a wide range of applications for society.